Hi. If you can make scrambled eggs, then you can make this recipe, egg muffins. And there are two reasons I'm sharing this recipe with you. One is because it's a protein food that can replace what might now be a sugary snack craving for you. So we're replacing the go-to sugar habit that we have with something healthier that doesn't raise your blood sugar in the form of eggs and veggies. And two, so many of you have shared with me that time is the biggest barrier to creating a healthier habit, making this change. So if you have 45 minutes from start to finish one day, one weekend to make this recipe, then you have 8 muffins you can just grab and go. So time will not be an issue for this particular thing. So let's get going with the recipe. In my preheated skillet, I'm going to put a little bit of olive oil. And this recipe, boy oh boy, you have so many variations that you can do. If you don't like some of the vegetables I'm going to be putting in here, switch it up. I am going to start, because I think every good recipe starts with onions. I'm not putting garlic in it this time. So we have some onions, get those going, and some pretty orange bell pepper. I had that on hand. And since those take a little while to soften, I get those in the pan first. I've decided to do a Greek tasting egg muffin this time. So I have some chopped black olives, a little bit of feta cheese is going to go in there, and some spinach. The batch I did ahead of time, just so that, I can show and tell for you guys. Totally different. Onion, red bell pepper. What else did I do? All of a sudden I blanked. I think I put a little broccoli in there. And then I had a little bit of leftover crumbled bacon. So just use your imagination, whatever is leftover vegetables from the night before, chop them up really, really well. You want these onions or the harder veggies to soften enough, because the egg muffins only take about 20 minutes to bake. So that time in the oven isn't going to make the vegetables soft enough. So just give it the time you need to get that to a softened state to your liking. And this is looking good to me. So now I am going to add spinach. Ah, that satisfying sound of the sizzle. And spinach doesn't take much heating at all for it to wilt and be soft enough. That is true of a few other greens where you don't have to cook them for a long time. Can you guess which ones those are? One would be bok choy. One would be chard. And if ever you've bought a bunch of beets with the greens attached, those are wonderful to cook. They cook down just as quickly as spinach. They taste kind of just like spinach, not very strong flavor at all. So those you can put in at the end of cooking time and they'll just wilt right down. How do you like to season it? Since this is Greek, I don't know about you, but I love little red pepper flakes. And I'm going to season the eggs, not the vegetables, when we get to that point. So let that be, and I might as well toss in the chopped pitted black Kalamata olives. Yum. So you can see this is kind of a savory taste that we have going here. And maybe this doesn't appeal to you for a breakfast muffin, but since when do we have to, I lost my heat, save eggs just for breakfast, right? They make wonderful snacks. They make a great lunch, one or two of these muffins, maybe with a side salad. And who hasn't had breakfast for dinner before? So with the feta cheese I'm going to add here and the olives, for me, it might be a little bit strong for breakfast with a cup of coffee, but I would absolutely use it for a snack or lunch or dinner. Okay, that is nicely combined. We'll turn off the heat. Now, the recipe I've given you is for 8 muffins, you need 8 eggs. Correct, 8 eggs. I actually only have 6. That's why you'll see my little muffin cups here, only 6. I put a tiny bit of cream in here. You can put a little bit of water or nothing at all. But I'm going to season this now with salt and pepper. I think it's easier to incorporate it however much you like. And the next step is to put the goodies in the muffin pan. Look what I found. I'm sure you've heard of the silicone muffin trays now that are all silicone and you can just twist and bend them and things pop right out. Well, I went looking for one of those. I was going to treat myself because I have the old-fashioned, old rusty metal things still in my cabinet. And you know what I found? I didn't find those. They weren't in stock, but I found these silicone cups, individual cups. Perfect. And it didn't cost me as much money. So into the bottom of this, you spread bits and pieces of the delicious feta cheese. Not too much. And then the veggies. Spoon that in first, as evenly as you can distribute it. And I will always be on my soapbox saying, eat more vegetables. So this is one way that we can get vegetables into our breakfast meal, where typically we would never be eating vegetables for breakfast. But vegetables are probably the number one recommendation of how to eat healthier. Just eat more vegetables, my friends. Here we go. In fact, I went to a seminar once about inflammation and foods that cause inflammation and the foods that, help to diminish it. And, people in the audience kept saying, so what are the most important things to take out of our diet? And she goes, you know what? I don't spend as much time talking about that. It's more important that you get the vegetables in than take the bad out. That stunned me, because it's like, what do you mean? Of course you need to take the bad, sugary, processed out. But she kept maintaining, if you're going to do one thing, it's to put more veggies in. That was her number one. And of course for us, meanwhile, reduce the added sugars, right? So here we have our yummy cups of veggies. And if you have a ladle, I am just going to ladle the egg right on top. And what else is good about these is that they do freeze well. So if you're in the kitchen and you are making this recipe, you might want to double it because they do freeze well. Did I do it okay? One's a little skimpy. There you go. So here we have 6 delicious savories. Gonna pop them in the oven. 20 minutes, check it at 20 minutes, okay? I check mine at 20 minutes. You take a toothpick and see if there's any liquid still left. And then I put 4 more minutes on mine, but everybody's oven is different. So in they go. If I don't set the timer, this is real deal. I'm gonna forget. There we go. And voila, in 24 minutes, here you have what I did beforehand. These are 7 muffins because I ate one. How do you not when it's warm from the oven? Aren't they beautiful though? And so 1 can be a snack, 2 could be a meal, again with maybe a side salad on there. So I hope you try this because it is as easy as you just saw. Make a bunch, freeze half, get time off the table as being one of the barriers to a healthier change. And like I said, now you have a little bit of protein in there to change what has been habitually reaching for something sugary, can now be reaching for something full of protein and good non-starchy carbohydrates in the form of those veggies for a snack instead of sugar. So give me a call, give me an email, let me know what you think. The recipe is going to be available to you. I'll make sure you get it. Meanwhile, happy snacking. See you next time.